Hey! The
Hi,
show started for
everybody.
the first
Hi.
time.
Hello.
Perfectly.
Mhm.
Mortal Kombat.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so I'm going to introduce my illustrious guests one by one as if it was the first time, because it is. It's the very first time that I'm doing this. Uh, First, I'd like to introduce my friend, your friend. We've done this before. We conversate about movies all the time, and he's a good guy. Tom from Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge
D-
After Dark and Midnight's
That's
Edge Live archive. You have so many channels,
as you're
Tom.
saying. I'm from lots of different places. Uh, that's a rumor about me being a nice guy, though. I don't know who started that nasty rumor, but as soon as I catch some bitch, um,
That may have
no.
been me.
Thanks for having me, man. I always love talking movies with you.
Yeah, dude. And I appreciate your profile there.
I thought that
Nice
was Lord
master rating.
Raiden.
It is,
Lord Raiden.
but I used a Highlander line just to throw everybody off.
All right. Next up, I'm going to introduce her the first time on my channel. I brought her on because she watched Mortal Kombat not too long ago. I saw it on Twitter,
Mhm.
so I had to bring her on. XRay Girl, what's going on?
Hi everyone. I'm so excited for Mortal Kombat to come out. It was originally going to come out on my birthday, but then it got delayed. But it's okay. So they
Happens
give me
a
time,
lot.
extra time to watch it twice.
When's your birthday?
April 16th, same day as Gina Carano.
Oh, nice. So yeah, they
Mhm.
pushed it.
Mhm.
And last but not least, the man apparently he's got some facts on the film, and I'm excited to hear him. Script Doctor,
Hello.
you got some BTS stuff. What's up?
Not just on the original Mortal Kombat, but a little bit of insight on the upcoming one as
Oh,
well. Yeah,
Ooh.
it's thank you so much for inviting me on tonight. It's a great pleasure to
yeah, dude.
meet you and X-Ray Girl and Tom. I hear you run an awesome channel.
I don't know who this guy is.
Oh, really? We need to kick him. We need to get him out of here.
Yeah,
Well, if
Okay,
he's gonna
I'll
go
work on
Raiden,
that.
I can go Johnny Cage or Lyndon Ashby with
Oh.
the shirtless.
Oh,
Oh.
dude, you whipping out them pecs, bro?
show off.
Well,
That
Need to
it's the
chill.
pandemic era, right? So you gotta stay fit. Gotta get your exercise in.
Need to chill with those abs. All right, so I want to kind of go around and we'll see what are our connections to the film. When did you watch it? Kind of those thoughts. Tom, what you're a little bit older than I am, but 10 years, I want to say, maybe less than 10 years.
Maybe.
So you
Yeah.
probably have more experience of like when it actually was in theaters. I only got it in VHS. I actually went to go see Mortal Kombat Annihilation, sadly, in theaters whenever I was a little kid.
You
And
know, I've never seen that movie all the way through.
even as a little kid, I was like, this movie sucks. Like, what is going on? What is this? But yeah, what's your experience with the movie?
Yeah, well, of course, I remember the game first and foremost,
Of course.
which came out in, I believe, 92. So I was like 12. And so I was like at the prime age. It was, I remember the commercial vividly. I remember, Mortal Kombat Day. And then when they announced a movie was happening, it was like, oh crap, this is going to be amazing, And yeah, my buddies and I got to see it on opening day. We missed like the first 10 minutes of the movie. So the usher was like cool enough to let us stick
There we go.
around to see the first 10 minutes again, or at least see it for the first time. And then we just watched the whole movie again. So like, yeah, it was one of those movies that was at that time an experience. Now, of course, I've seen it from time to time since then. And as far as holding up, I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan. But like I just said, never watched the second film all the way through. Couldn't get into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it as a kid. So I watched it on, like what TNT came on TNT all the time.
Yeah.
And then I had the VHS, rented it, and then we bought it. And I watched that thing all the time, always fighting with my little brothers. It was one of those that like after the movie, it gets you like geared up and you want to like fight each other, so you fight and you roughhouse a little bit too much. But I'll talk about that later. X-Ray Girl, what's your connection to the movie? When did you first see it?
I'm actually not sure the very first time I saw it, but I do remember we have the VHS. Had the VHS when we were kids. I have two brothers, and when you're kids and you don't have a lot to do at home, you play a movie over and over and over again.
Yep.
So that's what we did. And then we were obsessed with playing the game whenever I went to my cousin's house. They had the game. It was so fun. I was a button masher, so I can't say I was
Was it
good
one of
at
those
it.
situations like my parents for some reason they got kind of caught up in the oh it's kind of scary and like too bloody for kids even though it's like little pixels and now you kind of laugh at it cuz it's
Mm-hmm.
you know it's barely anything it's just like a cartoon
Yeah.
basically but like my parents were like oh we don't want to get the game it's a little too much but then later on whenever I got a little bit older they were like okay we can kind of get the game and they surprised me on my birthday and they got it was on our PC our old PC and they got the floppy disk Mortal Kombat. It was like 4
Oh
floppy
wow.
disks. You had to
Wow,
like change
4.
them out to play the whole game. It was great. But yeah, I eventually did get to play the whole game. But yeah, I had the same thing. Like my older brothers that didn't live with us, they were like my adopted our stepbrothers. They had the game because they always got to have all the cool like edgy stuff. I never got, but they had it and I played with them. It's never very good. But
Yeah, I mean, you can't not talk about the controversy surrounding the game.
yeah,
It was the violence. I mean, at the time, you hadn't seen stuff like that in video games before,
pretty shocking because
and
it was like
yeah,
Mario. You're seeing Pac-Man before that, and like Pong, and now you're seeing blood and people are pulling their heads off of torsos and stuff. Like, oh,
yeah, the most visceral, clearly we've ever seen. And then I don't think it helped that they used actual physical photo models or whatever for the sprites.
yeah.
So like that didn't help either. Hey, we got a kiddo.
Sorry. Anyways,
No, no problem.
So cute.
Talk about heads getting ripped off and a kid walks
she's like,
in.
hey. So, Script Doctor, what's your connection to the film? When did you watch it? What did you think?
I think I saw it in 1996 on VHS. My younger cousin brought it over when we were like just kids. I was around like 10 years old, 10, 11 years old at the time. And my uncle was the type of guy who he just rented and bought every movie he could. Didn't matter what genre it was, just had a whole library and stuff. And my cousin comes over and he's like, you gotta watch this. This is the coolest movie ever. It's based off that video game at the arcade we used to play like all the time. And we put it on and we're like, oh my god, it's the dude from Highlander. And then it's like Robin Shaw, who is like just up and coming for martial arts
Yeah.
films and acting at that time, and Lyndon Ashby and Talisa Soto and Trevor Goddard. And you're like, oh, this is so cool. And then you got Bridget Wilson, who was like this hot bombshell at the
At the
time.
time,
And
she was, yeah, kind of big.
I mean, she's still pretty now, but like, you know, she was really rocking it in the mid 90s. And yeah, it was just like this cool soundtrack and
Yeah, it had
cheesy
that like
one-liners and
Euro, like
jokes.
techno, and like techno was kind of just coming onto the scene at that time, right? I mean, it was
Yeah,
kind of like a
It was a
new
huge
sound.
soundtrack, actually.
Yeah.
huge soundtrack. Like techno dance music was getting really popular.
Yep.
I mean, as a kid at that time, we didn't really understand that too much until our teenage years when they would still be playing in clubs and whatnot. But yeah, it was like this crazy movie that, I mean, it looked like as a kid, you see it as it's bigger than what it actually was. Like as an adult now, you
Yeah.
watch it, you're like thinking, yeah, this is a pretty modest, fun action film. But as a kid, this blows your mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, just liked watching it. And then after you see Annihilation, you're like, no, that didn't happen. We're gonna go watch
You're like, no.
the Mortal Kombat thing. And then they came out with like an hour-long TV series, kind of in the similar visual tone of like Xena and Hercules back in the day. And
Yeah.
you just kind of followed that with some cool reverence, and then you see like all the lore and the video games keep coming out and with more gore, more characters, more crazy stuff. Like, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, we got what, like 13 Mortal Kombat games now?
13 Mortal
Is there
Kombat
13?
games.
Oh my
There's
God.
more than that, actually. What we're talking
Well, yeah,
about,
well, you're
actual
talking about like
numerical
the
ones,
in
like,
between, in
God,
between
there's all
games. There's a
kinds of other
bunch.
ones.
But like, I remember in the day for Mortal Kombat 2, the video game came out, and like discovering the secret character of Smoke and fighting him in
Yeah.
like the Outworld and all that stuff. That was always crazy. And yeah, yeah, just cool stuff like that.
So I'll kind of start off the next part with, so watching it recently, I very fond memories of the film. Love the film. I just finished watching it today, like an hour ago. Like you said, whenever you're a kid and you watch it, it is so much larger and all the fights are so much better and they're so more complex. But like when you watch it now, it still holds up fairly well for a 90s action movie. Like there's a lot of cool fight scenes in it, a lot of cool martial arts, but some of them they just kind of seem like not as full as you remember them. Like fighting Johnny Cage fighting Goro, there's literally like 2 hits. He punches him in the nuts, he runs away, and then he like tricks Goro to fall off the side. Like that's the whole fight. And whenever you're a kid, you think, "Oh man, there's like this big fight with the guy with the 4 arms," but there's not a whole lot there.
I think they do most of it in extreme wide shot where you can't tell that he's fighting.
Yeah, there's kind of and then there's like closer shots where it's just like arm. And then, because it's hard to do the animatronics, I'm sure, trying to choreograph a fight.
Well, that was
with
a guy on top of another guy's shoulders, if I remember right.
And
Is that what it was? Because
Yeah.
I thought it was a guy, and then like on top of it, it was like a whole animatronic.
No, I think it was another
chest
guy
thing?
on his shoulders, if I remember right.
Oh,
If I could be wrong, but I remember that's how they did it.
where would the other legs go?
Yeah,
You just kind of tuck him behind the other guy. The guy on top, if I remember right, is like a real small guy, of course. And
you'd have to
if I
get like a
remember.
little jockey.
Yeah, he's
tiny
like a little
guy.
guy.
Gilbert Godfrey, I heard. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
That sucked. Day in, day out, being the top half of Goro was the worst role I've ever had.
The worst. So, Tom, have you watched it recently? What are
I
your
just
thoughts?
watched it again today. And actually, it's been. I mean, I have it on Blu-ray. It doesn't hold up, obviously, like you're kind of saying. I mean, and the sad part is probably the acting is the thing that doesn't hold up the most, and the
Yeah.
story itself, because there is just so much random shit happening. And I
Mhm.
know Script has some insight into one part that just kind of gets batshit crazy, but you cut from so much shit happening to the next, to the next, to the next thing, that there's so little exposition on to where you're at,
Like
what's going on.
How did it get there? Why is this
How did you
happening?
get there?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? And you're really kind of just, once the tournament starts, you're just kind of sent down this path of you're on your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It does a great
I mean,
job of pretty much setting it up till then. But
yeah, a lot of it is like once the fights start, it's like fight right after that, fight right after that,
New
fight.
scene, fight. Yep.
Yeah, there's like no time in between. And then whenever they do a time in between, and they have like Johnny Cage and Sonya have a little like romantic conversation,
Yeah.
it's like the worst melodramatic. Like,
Oh, and that is
Don't
some of the
you
worst
do it, Johnny.
delivery
Don't
of
you
lines
do
by
it.
Bridget ever. Like, it's
Yeah.
cringeworthy.
Well, she came in very late because it was
She did.
originally Charlize Theron was going to be Sonya Blade, but
Ah,
she broke
Yep.
her arm or leg, I believe,
Oh.
at the time.
man,
Yeah, originally, the producers claimed they always wanted Bridget Wilson, but she signed up for Billy Madison
Yeah.
because Cameron Diaz got the role instead. And actually, it's Cameron Diaz. You sure it was
Was it?
Charlize Theron? I think it was Cameron
Might have been
Diaz.
Cameron Diaz. I can't remember.
Because
It's-
I think it was pretty sure it was because it was just off the mask. So this was New Line, because they were
Right,
also
yeah.
looking at Ernie Reyes Jr., who played Keno in Ninja Turtles 2 as Luke. They were thinking of having him play Luke.
oh really?
And
Mm.
so they had her on. Cameron was gonna be in the movie, but she broke her wrist during practice or whatever, during
during their
Like the
rehearsals
and stuff?
Yeah.
yeah. So then when she dropped out, it just so happened that Bridget was just finishing up Billy Madison, so they brought her
They're
in.
like, hey, could you do like a couple of poses? Can you do that?
Mhm.
Yeah, that was one
Well,
thing
she
that
was
really
freaking out
was
during
not
production,
like you could
yeah.
tell that they
Yeah.
brought her in later.
Oh,
Because-
she
Well, and I
has
remember
some
some
was not good.
stories, because the thing that's funny is I think they tried to fit a lot of the costumes they made for Cameron for her, and it, because I remember they said something like they had to do all her shoes again because Bridget has like huge fucking feet.
Yeah.
For some reason, I
Shirley has
remember
the
that
two
story.
costumes. Like she cuts the jeans off to make shorts in the midway of the movie, and then she's.
And I think
throwing
that's
that
another
leather
reason why
piece.
those shorts look so goofy on her too.
Yeah,
Is another reason, because they were actually fitted for Cameron.
yeah. I feel for her because it's funny because you're watching her like punch this huge Kano, and she's got these noodle arms. It's
She's
just
so
like
tiny. She's like,
she's so small.
But she's as tall as the actor too, which is like.
Yeah,
kind of
she's very
makes
tall.
It, look,
She
it
is,
kind of
yeah.
balances out a little bit.
It's
But,
just
like,
funny
she
when
gets
she's
kicked
throwing
in the
pit
gut,
fists.
and like she gets her butt kicked in that fight. It's not until like she gets her legs around his neck and then takes him down that it's that it works out. But
Yeah.
To Tom's point, yeah, it is kind of a messy story because like Liu Kang, the only reason he's getting involved is because his brother's killed and he's got these nightmare dreams that are compelling him to participate in the tournament. But for like Sonya Blade, she's there to get Kano because
Kano,
he
yeah.
killed her partner, so she's got a motivation and she has a resolution to her story. And then Johnny Cage doesn't want to be a phony, so he's hoping that winning this tournament will be about his celebrity, and he overcomes that by the
They
end when he
actually
realizes that he
mention
can be a
like
challenger.
almost Shang Tsung almost in like a throwaway line mentions that he is Kung Lao's descendant, and then later
Yes.
on Liu Kang says it in like the final battle. But it's like I need a little bit more like he is a descendant, he is a chosen one, because at the end he says I am the chosen one out of nowhere, and you're like, was there a chosen
they've
one? I
glossed
didn't
over
know.
that.
I didn't know
They
there was a
really
chosen
glossed
one.
over that.
So XRay Girl, you watched it like a couple days ago. What did you think about the rewatch?
I mean, it had some good funny moments. The fight scenes, you can definitely tell who's trained and who's not.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the new one obviously doesn't have that. And then I will say this movie has a lot of good sets. A lot of good sets.
It's a great point,
Yeah.
yeah. Like the
Mhm.
You can see
Outworld
where the
scene,
budget went.
the Outworld
Mhm.
with like the crucified pillar things, and then like
Yeah.
that whole the I don't know if it's like a facade or something, a structure that was already there that they dressed up to make the Outworld area, but like that was really well done. And like that
Mhm.
central hub area with all the statues, that was really cool. It's funny that you say that because my son, we watched it together and he's 9, and he was watching the final battle, and he goes, you can tell this guy actually knows how to fight. Like he's like, this guy is actually trained, and like the other people
Mhm.
were not. So even he could tell.
Yeah. I mean, like overall good movie for the 90s. I had a lot of good nostalgia watching it, and um, you know, a solid probably B
Yeah,
in today's standards.
that's solid.
I
So
mean, considering it's a PG-13 film, and like you guys just brought up the sets. I mean, there's some really bad CGI in this movie. But again, this is at the infancy of CGI.
Yeah.
that's true.
Oh my
So
god.
considering what they pulled off for just under, I think the budget was just under 30 million. I mean, for that time, I mean, that's roughly what now, like 80, 90 million script.
Around 90 million
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they reshot to add more fight scenes in that film. So
Right.
the
It was the
fight scene
scorpion
between
fight scene and Reptile, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's what I was going to get
Those
to
are like the
about
two best
wonky
fights.
cutting. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
those are amazing.
Those are like the
fights.
best fights.
Because originally Johnny Cage just beat Scorpion with the shadow kick and then just knocked him out. But they're like, no, you
What?
can't do that.
No.
We need another fight. So they do that portal thing, and then they build this giant set with like all this like skeletons
Yeah.
and cobwebs and stuff on there. And it's like, okay, Lyndon Ashby, here's a couple of moves for you. Here's a couple of moves for your stunt guy, and then you're gonna fight Scorpion for like 3 minutes, and then have that cool ending with your signed autograph photo. And like, how do you get out
Yeah,
of that
it worked.
dimension? We don't know, but
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Doesn't
I think even
matter.
in the trailer, I think they actually show the original kick even, and in the novel and the script that you have, I think script it actually ends that way too. But I'm curious now. Is the early script you have still the R-rated version or not?
Oh, it's the R-rated, like the one that
Okay,
I have of the movie that's coming out in like
not
what,
the new
6
one,
hours.
but the old one, the original one.
Oh, the old one there.
Yeah,
That one there has some of the old R-rated stuff. It's really just on the finishing move kills, not so much anything else. Not
Mm.
really with
yeah,
language.
because the producers actually, because New Line was all for doing an R-rated film, they didn't give a shit. Like it was the producers that actually said no, it has to be PG-13. So I'm surprised they never did like an
Release
unrated
the
version of
R
it.
version. I want to see that.
Because this was right on the heels of New Line doing like Jason Goes to Hell in an unrated version, which was like one of the first, if not the first, unrated, end rated versions to get released at the same time. So I was kind of surprised they didn't. But yeah, no, like there's a lot of stuff that changed, but it was mainly because it was the opposite effect we usually see in Hollywood nowadays, where the movie got pushed and they added those scenes that script and you were just talking about, not because the movie tested poorly, but because it tested through the fucking roof. And they're like, okay, we really got to get a little bit more action in here because
Yeah.
the kids are digging it. We just got to give it an extra oomph. And they do the same thing with horror films, actually. Like, especially if they're testing well, they're like, okay, we'll just throw a couple more deaths in here.
Like,
and
oh,
this
let's
thing's
go do some
perfect.
more rad like deaths and get those numbers up. Because I mean,
Exactly,
really, it
yeah.
was like those scenes that they added were my favorite as a kid. Those were the best scenes. Like reptile scene, the music to the reptile fight was just dope. I love that music. That's also another thing. Whenever I was a kid, I had the cassette, and I just like wore that cassette out because I was just playing it all the time, just fighting people.
#1 movie for 3 weeks in a row too.
Wow.
Oh
Yep.
wow.
And then the other part too, like the other reason they added those two fight scenes is one of the producers remarked it's called Mortal Kombat, and there's not a whole lot of combat by
Yeah.
comparison. So
I
we
think I
probably have to
counted
fix
like 7 fights total.
that. Yeah, that seems about right.
Didn't they add a bunch of those shots where the guys are just falling into the
Yeah.
rocks and shit too in the
Oh,
reshoot?
from Goro defeats.
Yeah, where he's
they
fighting
added-
and he's
Yeah.
just like, dead, ah. And there's like a couple in between
Because
fights
it almost seems extreme. Yes,
that I didn't even count because there's those fights, and then there's the fight with him and that other martial artist guy that everybody cares about, but we don't know who he is. That black
Forgot
guy.
his name.
What is that
Oh
guy's name?
yeah.
And like, no.
no, Jax is in the
He's
Art,
in the-
Art Lean. That
Art.
was his name.
Yeah, it's Art.
Right. Like this guy that all of a sudden, like Sonya's like, no, like we don't know this guy. he
like,
showed up for like
wait,
2
you
seconds.
met that guy?
Yeah,
Sonya
she
met
doesn't even
that
know who
guy?
he is.
Wasn't that another bit that was like kind of cut out or something like that?
He was at the very beginning when
Yeah.
Johnny Cage like got to the boat, and then he's like, not here, and it's like a picture of him with fake but in I guess Chinese I don't
The tabloid of some
Yeah.
sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
Art
kind of
Lean,
makes sense
yeah.
for Johnny Cage to. I mean, you'll almost have a relationship there. He's like, oh, it could be buddies or whatever. They know each other. So he could be like, no, I was rooting for you, but it didn't make any sense for Sonya because the whole time up to that point, she was like, screw you guys, I work alone. And then all of a sudden she's like, I care. Didn't quite
Yeah.
make any sense. But there's a lot of, there's a lot of bad acting for sure.
Absolutely.
Like,
yes.
Robin, whatever he says, there can be no final combat. That's one of my favorite bad line reads. There can be no final combat.
Yeah.
But I thought he did pretty well the rest of the movie. Like, he was a pretty good charismatic lead, and I thought like whenever the first scene, whenever Johnny Cage and Liu Kang meet, and he's like, "Hey, go put my bags away," and he throws his bags in the water, and then he's like, "Oh, thanks,"
That's a good
and walks
scene.
off. That was like a really
Yeah.
good scene. I thought they did really well, and I wish he did more stuff. Like, he was in this Beverly Hills Ninja in '97, and then he kind of like fell off the map. I don't know if there's anything else, but like
well, he
he
did
was
some
in
TV.
Death Race in like
Um,
2010 or something.
he did the Death Race.
Yeah.
He did a Death Race remake, like 2 of them. He was in Dead or Alive, or the DOA video game thing, I think.
Looks
yeah, but
like he
he's good.
works
He was also a
intermittently.
Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun Li.
Oh,
Why?
that was a horrible movie. That's so bad.
Why?
I feel bad for him.
Probably
He
was a
should have
good
done
picture.
more stuff because I liked him a lot. I always thought he
Did
was cool.
somebody just think that Liu Kang was in Street Fighter and fuck up there or something? Or
don't
Well,
know.
he's in a lot of like smaller productions right
I
now.
know.
I
Yeah.
don't know the reason why. Maybe he just got his bad representation since the 90s.
It
I mean,
sucked.
let's be clear. I mean, as good as he is in this role, he doesn't seem to have a ton of range.
Right, but
outside
I
of
want
this
more
stuff,
karate stuff. I
possibly.
want him to do some kung fu.
But
man.
yeah,
Not really
no.
much for him to go. Like,
Yeah. So I can see that part of it. But I mean, even Bridget Wilson kind of fell off the map too. So
That's true. They all did.
Well,
I don't know if
sadly,
there's
women
anybody
only
in
have-
this film that like went
Yeah.
on to do like more things.
Christopher Lambert was the highest paid obvious acting
Yeah.
member of the troupe. But I guess I don't know if you knew this or not, Script, but I guess they were so cheap after they paid him, they didn't want to take him to Thailand, so they were going to use a body double, but he wasn't cool with that, so he paid for himself to go out there.
Oh, that's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
No, because
And
he
then he-
loved the game. He loved
Yeah.
the game and the script and being able to do it. And I don't even know what the story is. Why he didn't return for the sequel, aside from suspecting that the script was far worse than the previous one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the
Yeah.
script for that movie was bad. It's just the execution for that movie was just very poor. I feel like the movie could have done it. Like, if you think about the story, I mean, it's not any worse than the first one. The first one was pretty simple. Maybe they went too far. They made it a little too complicated. They need to hold up on
Well, I
that?
think it was just trying to get all the cool things that the video games were introducing wedged into this one as quickly as possible instead of making it a bit more um, organic or like
Yeah.
a proper effect to the causes that are being presented.
So you said you had some like more behind the scenes. Do you have anything else you want to add to it?
Of the original film?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Before
mean,
we
there's not
go to
like
the
a
new one.
whole lot going on there, other than the fact that I know because of Trevor Goddard's portrayal of Kano, they decided to rewrite the character in the video games to be Australian.
I thought he was
um,
great. I thought he was really
I thought
good.
he was fun. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yep.
I think he died in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, like I have way more information on the newer
The
one.
new
that's
one,
coming out
Exactly.
later.
That's where I wanted to
Yeah.
go next. Since I think if you guys had anything else,
I will add one little
Add.
piece of trivia. For those video gamers out there who probably know this already, but for those who may not know, he did play Lord Raiden one more time.
really,
In Mortal Kombat 11, he did the voice.
oh, that's cool.
Oh,
No, it's kind of like what's his name? What is his name? Corey.
Lyndon Ashby.
No, the guy that played Shang Tsung.
Oh, Corey Tagawa.
Yeah,
Or Kerry Hyoku
Carrie.
Tagawa.
That's
Sorry.
right.
Yeah.
That guy's awesome. I love that guy. His like over the top performance is like the best. That's what I kind of love about it. It's so like so
It's
evil.
spot on, though.
It's spot
Mhm.
on. It's so good.
Oh,
I love it.
He chews the
I
scenery.
feel like it's the eyebrows. He's got,
got
like the
that,
most
like-
expressive eyebrows
Yeah.
And just the
ever.
way he can say things like flawless victory.
Victory.
You know,
He says it like
just
so
comes-
perfectly.
Yeah.
I think that's what I mean. They brought him back to basically like do Shang Tsung again in the new one, right? He's like a downloadable character. I think.
Oh, yeah. I
right?
didn't know that one. That's cool.
No, yeah. If you look back at the character design, it's based off of him. Like it is his face.
Well, that's cool.
I kind of wish they would do that for other actors that were in this movie. Just kind of downloadable extra
Yeah,
skins
that would
and
be
like
neat.
make them look like that. I'm sure there's like a
95 skin or something like that. you
yeah.
could
There's
call
like
them.
I'm sure there's a rights issue and
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like
you gotta
that.
get people to sign off and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I know Bridget Wilson and Lyndon Ashby have used their voices for some of the video games recently.
That's pretty cool.
So you'd figure if they used the
Do it,
voices,
yeah.
they'd probably be able to negotiate the likeness rights for
Absolutely.
reasonable
it's like-
cost.
So, yeah, well, as you said, Garrett, you wanted to talk about a little bit about the new movie.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Since it's coming out tonight,
In
right?
hours.
In a few hours, it's gonna come out. I'm gonna watch that shit so fast. But yeah, so we'll move on to that. What do you have on the new movie? I'm interested.
I'm too distracted by that chest.
It's offensive.
Oh, I'll help Tom out with that. There we go.
That's
Oh,
better,
thank you. Oh,
I feel a lot more
Very
comfortable in this
distracting.
safe
So yeah,
space now.
this was a script originally written by a very unknown writer named Greg Russo, who hasn't done a whole lot. Is doesn't have a whole lot to follow as of yet. But one thing I can say is that his at least in the draft that I have, which is about 2 years old, the dialogue is pretty decent, but his prose is pretty horrible.
Mm.
So that's why another writer, someone who we've seen a few of his movies, or not really seen a few of his movies, but a few of his movies have come out recently, named Dave Callahan. And this guy wrote Zombieland 2, he wrote Wonder Woman 1984, and he wrote the Shang-Chi film, which is also coming out
Oh,
this
yeah.
September. So I've read a lot of his work. I don't know who he is personally, but I'm not a fan of his writing. It's kind of very pedestrian. And I think for this film overall, they do mention Johnny Cage in the original script as an actor and a celebrity, but not part of the actual fight. It focuses on the character of Cole, who in the script he has a medallion, but in the trailer we see it's a birthmark of the Mortal Kombat dragon, which I don't think is a better choice to have on that. But yeah, it's just a story about him trying to get revenge on a wrong that has happened to him, and it coincides with the Mortal Kombat tournament that is coming forth.
So kind of
And it
like
does
Liu
have-
Kang.
Yeah,
the old
sort of
film.
like Liu Kang,
Doing
but
the
Liu
same
Kang is
thing.
also in this as well. He plays more of like the Raiden mentor type of character in this draft. I don't know how much it's going to change for the final film, because we did see those 7 minutes that dropped earlier this week
Yeah.
of the opening.
I avoided
Very
those.
different opening. completely
Yeah.
different opening than
avoided
what's
that.
in the script. Um, so I think that yeah, Dave Callahan did a lot of extensive rewrites, and I think the director and the entire stunt team decided to add all their own flair in there to really make this
Cool.
worth a movie watching, because it does fail on like the narrative, it almost as like a default when it comes to a video game adaptation of films of this type. It's like, yeah, you can't really uh, give us a very philosophical Star Wars-esque, Citizen Kane type story with
Yeah.
this. It's all really about how awesome can you make the fights, how awesome can you make the deaths. Hopefully that will be like amazing. I mean, some of the stuff we saw in the trailer is in the script. Jax with his arms getting frozen off, like that's in the script. So like some of the ideas have definitely translated through, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the fight choreography is, because that's going to be the cherry
Yeah.
on top of this.
If the fights aren't done well, then the whole movie is kind of a wash, because it's Mortal Kombat. It needs to be fights
Yeah.
need to be very good, and you said there's going to be some fatalities. They better look really good.
Well, did you happen to see the first 7 minutes
No.
that got put out online? Oh,
Didn't.
you were one of those hands off people.
You
Huh?
Hands
don't
off.
have
I'm not
to. All
going
I have
in.
to say is like the response. You can just take a look at like the YouTube views and comments that don't do the spoilers. It's going to be pretty good. I think this might be a memeable movie with lots of meme
Yes.
Oh,
meme
that's good.
potential,
Yeah.
because of the weird lines that are going to be in there. Like it's gonna be
Hopefully.
great action film and then silly line thing to quote later.
So in the original, the script that you read, it does mention Johnny Cage, because that was my main beef with it. Whenever I first saw it, I was hyped. I'm ready for it. It's coming out, and then I saw the trailer, and I'm like, "Where's Johnny Cage? He's not here at all."
No, he's in the script. He's a part of it. There's a character that wants to go see the latest Johnny Cage film, and remarks about how one of their relatives doesn't want them to see it because it's way too violent. That type of thing. That's the type of jokes
I
that
hope they
throw
keep
in
that
there.
in. They got to
Me
keep
too,
him at
actually.
least in the world. 'Cause I'd be very disappointed if they just like don't mention him at all. And then maybe sequel potential, he could come in.
I
Maybe.
think that's a possibility. I mean, I know some of the actors and the stunt guys have been signed for multiple films, but that's always conditional on the reception of the actual film, whether it be financial or on social media at the current time. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot more of a simpler story.
That's good.
Compared
Kind
to
of
the previous
appreciate
one,
that.
so it does allow you to focus way more on the actual combat of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out, and it's going to be I think it's like just shy of 2 hour film in the final
Really?
part, because the script is really thin, because it's only like 99 pages, because it's insert fight scene
Yeah, it's
here
like,
and be
and
awesome.
fight.
You know?
And fight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, does anybody have anything else to say?
I
I'm
don't
going to
want
go
to
to
spoil
super
anything
chats.
of it other than what we've talked. That's all. I just don't want to spoil it for everybody.
Don't spoil. I don't want to. Don't spoil
Exactly, right?
it.
But
Yeah,
after
I'm
it drops,
hoping
we
for
can
the
talk all the spoilers.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I'm gonna do another live stream. I don't know if it's gonna be like tomorrow. Probably not, because Friday Night Tights. But at some point this next week, I'm gonna do another live stream talking about the new film, and we'll do that. Tom, did you say you were gonna say something?
No, I was just that's why I didn't get into the whole thing about the 7 minutes. I didn't want to spoil it for anybody, and I'm hoping for the best. But yeah, I mean, I know it might be a little corny and goofy, so I'm expecting that.
Kind of expected, and I hope that it is more of a simple story, because I see a lot of these new movies that they're like remake or something like that, and it's more complicated than the original movie, and it's like, why did you didn't need so much extra fluff? Just kind of keep it simple. A lot of movies seem to be going more complex whenever they don't have to be complex. Like, it's Mortal Kombat, just have some people fight each other. That's pretty much all I need.
Yeah, I mean, the golden rule in film is like simple plot, like easy to follow. Even if you go away for the bathroom for like 5 minutes and come back, you still know where you are. And you make the characters complex, because people are complex and interesting, and that's where you want to quote a character. You want to fall in love with them, or what have you, and want to watch them do more stuff. Like that comes from complexity. But when you make the character simple and the plot complex, you lose everybody.
Yeah, and nobody cares about the characters because they're not complex at all. They're just there to.
You can't relate to them. You
there.
can't relate to a simple person.
All right, so I'm going to go to the super chats. If anybody would like to comment on that, then you you totally can while I read through these. According to Christy, for $5, noob sticker. Thank you for the noob sticker. I appreciate that. It was far before we had all the technical difficulties, so she's maybe like Nostradamus or something. I don't know, or maybe she's just seen a stream of mine before. Could be that. Could be that.
Combination of both.
Combination of both. You know, according to Christy, she's pretty good. So, Cole Frank for $20. Thank you, sir. Do a Lord of the Rings discussion video. That's a great idea. I think we should do a Lord of the Rings extended edition. Okay, you have to watch all 3 of them. Extended edition, and then we'll do this again at some point.
Run, you fools!
Should probably bring Gary on for that one.
He is Gandalf after all.
He is Gandalf. I should bring him on for that one. Mark the Cyborg for $6.99 Canadian coins. Whatever you guys use up there, and that what was it that I called the other day? Syrup coins. I think that's what I called it. Syrup tokens.
It is like gold up there. It is
Just
liquid gold.
syrup.
Syrup bottles, just trading them. X-Ray Girl is as sexy as pre-MK11 Mortal Kombat character. Yeah, that's a pretty good assessment because Mortal Kombat 11, those characters were just all buttoned up. Those were all like prudish. I don't know what was going on with those guys. That was a bad decision. But there you go. That's for X-Ray Girl. Julia D2 for $2. We can't hear them. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that back up. I appreciate it. Cole again for $5.
Good.
Well, your voice is great, Garrett. We want to hear your guest. Okay, you don't have to super chat my fuck ups, okay? Appreciate it. James King for $2. Small super chat for the duct tape production. Thank you so much. It goes right back to this channel. So soon I will get the rig. Soon I will get the rig, and this will all be a thing of the past. / it will definitely still be present. Okay, so don't expect it to go anywhere. Predator 1987X for $2. Hey, lady and gentlemen, playing MK11 as we speak. Hey, that's a good pairing. This live stream and MK11. You know what? I haven't played MK11. I played MK12. I mean, not 12. 10. I'm in the future. I'm sorry. I let it go. I'm in the future. I played 12.
10, I don't remember.
I haven't played 11. Is it better than 10? Because I thought 10 was pretty solid.
The one I don't know. The last one I played had Freddy in it. That's all I remember.
I think it was 10.
I want to play it now.
I know. I need to go get it.
Yes, I do.
I need to get it. Mark the Cyborg again. Thank you, sir. With some more Canadian syrup tokens. My first copy was a Game Gear because I didn't have a Genesis and didn't want to deal with a Nintendo replacement in the blood with sweat. Yeah, that was dumb. They replaced it with sweat? I thought it was like green or something. Oh, no, wait. There was a Genesis setting that you could set it to green. Am I right about that?
I think you're right. I remember at least Super Nintendo had some green.
Yeah, where you could like change the
some
blood.
of the monsters and stuff like Goro and stuff, I think, because they changed to green. But yeah, it was like black sweat or whatever.
So Mark is a Sega man? Is that what I'm hearing? Because I was a Sega man. I didn't have a Game Gear, but my cousins did, and I thought it was like the coolest shit ever. Because back then, it was what? It was like Game Boy, and that was it. And that was just black and white screen. So the Game Gear was very cool because it had the backlit screen.
I think that also took like 6 batteries too.
Yeah, it did. It didn't have a long battery life. It wasn't very good. Sporking News Podcast. Hey, I know that name. For $5.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Scott.
We went opening night. Freaking amazing. Multiple kid date night. So you like double dated?
I hope you didn't take kids.
I hope you didn't date kids. That's a weird thing.
Yeah,
to
that's
say.
a little odd.
You should phrase that a little better, okay?
Yeah,
Just gonna point that out.
Just a little.
That's right up his alley, actually, in the phrasing part. He doesn't phrase things correctly.
That sounds like me.
Scotty's not good at that. English not good for Scott.
Not good. Brett the Illustrator. He's an illustrator. He does illustrations. You should go check out his channel. He's a pretty cool dude. For $2. Acting is terrible, but the songs will never die. I love those songs, even as cheesy and Euro trashy it is. I love
Can I
them.
take 2 seconds to bitch about the fact that they don't have the original Techno Syndrome version of Mortal
Yes.
Kombat on the fucking
What?
soundtrack?
They
But they
don't.
have that weird version.
That was
The
like my favorite part.
Yep.
It's in the movie like 5 times.
Yeah.
But it's not on the soundtrack. The weird newer version is. It's not. I don't even think that version's used in the movie.
It doesn't even seem like, I don't know. I may have gotten a bad LimeWire version of it whenever I was a teenager, but there was like a weird skip in it where it was like,
Oh, that sucks.
it was like right at the beginning, and I thought, I was like, what? I don't remember this being this horrible. But yeah, that
If you
version of
want
the
a
song is
fresh
not
version,
very good.
man, I've got the Techno Syndrome actual album. So yeah, just hit me up. I'll hook you up.
Let's do that. But oh yeah, I think XRay Girl, you tweeted it out, and it was like that ending whenever the song comes on.
Oh
Oh,
my God,
dude.
that was like such a hype moment when they start like doing
Yeah.
their little.
And I love the fact that they actually use sound from the game in the song in the movie. You know, it's like,
Well,
test
that's
your might. You know, it's like they're not afraid of being like, yeah, it's a game. This is a game
well. The
movie.
humor of that is that the album I'm talking about is a whole album of songs that are just like techno songs using sound effects and shit from the game, and that's
I
just
love it.
one song on the album. And it just happened to be the song that everybody actually just calls Mortal Kombat. Well, the actual name of the song is Techno Syndrome, but like, yeah. So it's like just one of those things. And so that album came out like 2-3 years before the movie even came out. And so I was like jamming that shit when I was a DJ as a teenager. And now when I do Mead Radio, that's still probably one of the more requested and played songs.
It's a great song.
It's
It's
just
dope.
It is.
it's
It goes
the
through the whole
perfect epitome
roster.
of
It's so
techno.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, even the ending song, like after Liu Kang beats Shang Tsung, and you have like the little soft drums
Yeah.
beat going on.
And then the
Yeah.
brother comes out and he's like, the weird hand thing that they do.
Yep.
Touching. Dum, 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 dum. Yeah,
See, that's not on the
good shit.
soundtrack either.
it's good. All the good songs aren't on there. What the fuck?
I know, and I'm like curious how many people bought that soundtrack thinking they were gonna get that song.
The Dragon Treasure for $5. Sub-Zero actor says if the movie was done well, he's slated to do 4 more movies. So the new Sub-Zero actor, he's just been signed on. He's just been contracted to do a whole bunch of more.
Spoilers, I
more
guess he
movies.
doesn't die in this one.
Well, who knows, man? I don't know.
Or maybe it's like a
It could come back.
prequel.
Well, yeah, there's like 10 Mortal Kombats, right? So you can throw them in any
Yeah,
one
they
of those.
keep coming back.
Hmm
Let
No
me
one can
refresh.
die.
Now I gotta listen to it now. I'm gonna go listen to it after this. All right. Cole Frank for another $5. Thank you, sir. X-Ray Girl is just in here sitting back looking bored because y'all keep talking. Hey,
Should
I'm
I take
sorry.
a nap? I'm joking.
Would you like
You
to?
know, though.
Would you
Go
like
ahead.
to talk?
No, no.
I think you're doing
It's a good-
fine.
Good pace. It's a good
Cole, you're a
pace.
shamer. I shame you, Cole.
It must have been when you guys were talking about like the back secrets, like the BTS.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was like, all I can think about is the Korean pop band.
BTS. BTS. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. They're coming in. They're in the chat right now. Oh my god. Valdez D. Frank for I don't know what that is. What is MXN? Is that Mexican?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah,
Pesos?
that's Mexican pesos. Yep.
Mexican.
Yep.
20 Mexican pesos, I guess. Flawless victory. That's a spoiler. That is a spoiler. In fact, he says flawless victory twice in the movie whenever it's not a flawless victory at all.
Yes.
Technically, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
remember
Luke
that.
Kane, you definitely got hit multiple times. Like you almost got your ass handed to you. You're like,
By the dreadlock guy, yeah.
yeah, not flawless, bro. Not flawless.
He just forgot about that part of the fight.
Yeah, just erase that. It didn't happen. You're on that. You know, whenever you get a fight and you're like that, just a little sliver, and then you're somehow able to like pull the fight over and like beat the other guy. That's what you did, and you called it flawless. It's not flawless. P1 Randy, Mash, for $5. No message. So I appreciate it. I guess it goes straight for the rig. It's for the rig. The Gentleman's War Fighter for 5 Canadian maple leaf coins. Hey y'all, my intro to fight movies consists of the Ip Man. I always say IP Man. I'm sorry. Ip Man movies, which is great. I didn't finish them. I think there's a fourth one I didn't watch. I think it's correct. I didn't watch that one. How does MK compare to those beyond crazy graphic content? Canadians, Dill, and Loonies. Oh, okay. That'll be the next one then. Oh, hey, look, there's another one that's Canadian. I'll do that one then. How does the new one or the old one? The old one is not top-notch martial arts, but it's pretty well done, I feel like. It's believable. I feel. What do you guys think?
I think the Gentleman Warfighter is breaking the Canadian secret that we trade in crazy people as currency. That we don't. I mean, wink, wink. We don't.
Or
Do not.
Or
I
do
don't
we?
know. I've given it a lot of thought, and frankly, I just don't give a shit.
Frankly. Roger H for 5 loonies. MK1 on Sega CD had Mortal Day
Oh, yeah.
ad for the intro. Mortal Day ad, what is that?
Mortal Kombat Day. That was the day that Mortal Kombat 2 came out, if I remember right.
They hyped it up.
Yeah, for the longest time, I think it was the highest selling video game, if I'm not mistaken. It was just a huge deal.
Well, I wish that whenever
Or if anything, like first day sales or something like that, till like one of the Grand Theft Auto games, probably, or something.
All right, in our last super chat. Of course, it's gonna be some name. I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher this. Orelby? Maybe? Orelby Sorrel for $5, just regular $5, not maple leafs or syrup coins or loonies. Just regular old American garbage money. It's not Dreadlock Guy, it's the Machine. Put some respect on the name. Is that his name, the Machine?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
That guy.
You just had dreadlocks. I wish I could.
News
pull
to
off.
me.
He does that thing where he like whips his dreadlocks up.
Yeah.
It's like,
I like to think is he should put his hair up. That's like
yeah, probably.
all up on his face.
It's probably
No,
not.
we should put
works
swords on
for
the end of his
fighting.
dreadlocks and use it as a weapon.
Whoa, bro.
Does he whip
That'd
his
be-
hair back
He'd
and
probably
forth?
hurt himself.
He'd hurt him. Those
He'd
would
be
go
like,
in his eyes.
All right. Well, I mean that's about an hour. Would anybody like to say anything before we head out?
Flawless victory.
Can someone smuggle me to America? I don't have any open theaters here. I don't even know
You
how
don't?
to watch
Likewise.
this movie.
No,
Yeah.
none of the theaters are. Well, there's only a couple of theaters in very rural areas open, but no, there's nothing really open in Canada right now.
I'm in lockdown until May.
I'm sorry,
May
guys.
22nd is our date. Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus.
I'm sure you guys can just walk right over the border, go to like Michigan or
There are a couple of parts where we could walk,
whichever
but
side you're
it's
at.
a long walk.
It's a long,
Want to go for a hike?
treacherous walk.
Yeah. Gotta walk. We have to like get dogs so we can walk them over the border because that's the only way you can walk outside with a pet in some parts of Canada.
Mhm.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm watching the film. I'm excited. I'm hoping it's not going to be a woke fest. I'm crossing my fingers because it is 2021, and just any movie that comes out, I'm afraid it's going to be super woke. So I'm watching. I'm hoping not. I hope it's just going to be an awesome martial arts film because I need something like that in my life right now. It sounds like you guys are excited for it too. So
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Mhm.
all right, that was Tom.
Yes.
Where can they find you?
You can find me on Midnight's Edge After Dark, here, there, and everywhere.
Links in the description. I didn't get Script Doctor's links, but I will after this stream. It'll be in the description.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Script Doctor, where could they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD, and I do have a YouTube channel where I analyze and break down film and TV shows such as Star Trek Discovery, Lower Decks, The Mandalorian, Batwoman for some strange reason, and other such things. So you can find some of my content over there. It's a little slow right now because I am working on some assignment gigs for Hollywood. So when those are done, I'll get back to the business. But in the meantime, you can also find me streaming with Tom Connors here over at Midnight's Edge After Dark.
That's a vicious rumor.
It's liable. Or wait,
Liable.
it's liable. X-Ray Girl, where could they find you aside from the description below? Use the link.
So yeah, Twitch and Twitter, and then you can find me in the background of a Nerdrotics channel where I produce his show, and then Geeks and Gamers. I'm all over there. I run the Instagram and I play some of the games, which you can sign up for premium. And I know Tuesdays Girls Night. Yep. So yep.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on the channel, giving us your insight and your wisdom, Script Doctor specifically because you had the background on the script. So,
hey, thank you. I'm honored to be invited. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. You should come on some more. We should do this more often. Okay. And hopefully, the more we do it, the less technical difficulties we'll have.
The less.
Practice makes perfect.
Thanks, X-Ray Girl. Thanks, Tom, once again. And I'll see you in the next live stream at some point in the near future.
Fatality.
This is where you fall down.
Oh. I bet you guys didn't think I was gonna come back, did you? Oh yeah, I came back. That's right. I'm still here. Now it's just me and you. Me and you at the end of the stream. Yep. Yep. Man, why y'all so loud? Why y'all so loud? I'll see y'all later. Good night.